In this video, we're going to talk about the few ways that you can connect thanks.io up to BoldTrail. Now, this will be a pretty advanced video. If you're not very tech savvy or you just want help doing this, just reach out to the thanks.io team, use the live chat, or support at thanks.io. We do ask that you actually have a campaign in BoldTrail ready to go that you want to send mail from. We're not going to do a connection for you if you don't know what you want. It seems to be a common problem with real estate agents. So don't reach out until you know for sure, hey, I have a smart campaign in BoldTrail. I would like to add direct mail to this. When you reach out, we will actually do everything in this video for you. So sorry for the long disclaimer. Now we can get going for those of you who are a little more tech savvy and want to connect BoldTrail to thanks.io yourselves. Here's how to do it. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to want a thanks.io mailing list set up. And the first thing I'm going to show you is that you can directly inject people into your thanks.io mailing list via a webhook that's triggered from BoldTrail. So if I come down to the bottom left of any thanks.io mailing list, you'll see here it says copy kvCORE specific code to BoldTrail, just like so. So I'm going to put that over here on a notepad like this. And then I'm going to come on over to the BoldTrail platform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself a smart campaign. And then within the smart campaign, I'm going to add the action. You can see me doing it over on the right side. I'm going to add my webhook. Once I add my webhook, I'm going to give the template a name, and I'm going to paste the webhook URL right here. Now, at the time of the recording, BoldTrail seems to only want the base of the URL. It used to be that we could just paste this whole thing. You can try doing that. If it lets you paste the whole thing with the payload, awesome. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to separate out the parameters at the end of this URL. And again, I'm going fast. This video is geared toward people who are familiar with this kind of stuff. If you need help doing this and you have a campaign, let us know. But what I'm doing is I'm going to separate out the parameters here, and I'm just going to put the base URL in as my webhook. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to map our parameters. So I'm going to have the first name coming over, last name, address. I can even send over custom fields to thanks.io if I want to. And I'm just going to have to go ahead down in the query parameters and add them one at a time. So I have first name, last name, address, email, phone in this case, and then I'm mapping them to the fields in BoldTrail. And you'll see here our default webhook actually had these fields ready to go, the tags, I should say, not fields, ready to go. So you can either search for them or you can just paste in these tags and they should find them very quickly. We'll click save. We'll set the sequencing. You know, we want this to run immediately in this campaign just for demo's sake. You might want it to run 2-3 days later, whenever it is in the sequence. So now what we can do is we can come on in and we can test this with a contact just to make sure it's working. So let's make sure that this contact right here has a physical mailing address attached to it and that it can be sent over. So what we're going to do is we're going to add this person to my test webhook campaign. Like so. I'm going to click add, and then I'm going to wait a little while for the webhook to run. And once it's run, I should see this person appear in the mailing list. Now, what I've noticed is sometimes the BoldTrail system will take a little while. It can be very frustrating, but it can take a little while for the webhook to actually run, up to 15 minutes, which is not ideal. But as I record this video, it's just kind of the way things work. And you might have to be patient with this, but in my experience, this is all working and tested, and it does work. So just go ahead, do your webhook test. You can kind of see here in the activity timeline in BoldTrail, campaign was manually added to webhook test. I'm looking for where the action was triggered, and I don't see the action triggered yet. It's still a future touch point in the campaign right here off into the future. But that is what you need to do in order to send people into the thanks.io mailing list. And then if you're familiar with thanks.io, you know that from there, you can trigger other campaigns. Now, the second way at this, of course, is to use Zapier. And I'll be honest, with all of the little glitchiness and weirdness around webhooks and the BoldTrail Smart Campaign functionality of late, I might suggest that Zapier is maybe a little easier if you happen to have a Zapier account. Of course, a Zapier account does cost a few bucks, a little bit of a fee there to use it. So that can be up to you. I'll also mention too that API Nation has a connector between BoldTrail and thanks.io as well. So you can explore API Nation and just follow their documentation to do this. But I'm going to log in here and just show you what the Zapier side of things looks like for thanks.io and BoldTrail, and you can decide what you want to use. So coming on into Zapier here, you'll see here that we have our action item set up as kvCORE. BoldTrail will be found in Zapier as I record this video as kvCORE, but eventually, if you don't find it as kvCORE, it will be available in Zapier as BoldTrail. And then you'll see here we have our trigger events. We can do a campaign action event or just straight off a new lead if we want. The campaign action is what we'll focus on here because it's probably the more relevant and more likely to be used. But you could actually fire a zap on a new lead and add them into the actions in thanks.io. So coming back in to the thanks.io, the BoldTrail platform, let's go back into our campaign. Bear with me here. Come back to Smart Campaigns. We look for our webhook. Campaign or test campaign. And instead of adding a webhook this time, we can add an action, and that action will be the Zapier action. So down here on the right side, you see Zapier, and then you can give it a name. Send to thanks.io zap. Sends to thanks.io. And you would call this whatever you want, set the runtime, and then click save. And then the important thing to do, I could have copied it before I saved it, or you can just come back in and edit, is you need to copy this zap ID. Once that's copied, you can come on over and you can add to your kvCORE. You can do your trigger event campaign action. You're going to choose the actual kvCORE account that you're going to use. I kind of skipped a step here. You're going to want to add your key for the kvCORE account. And I'll assume if you're doing this, you probably have already connected kvCORE at some point. But if you haven't, you can find the key by going to the lead engine. And I realize I'm jumping around, but again, purpose of this video is for more advanced people to get the gist of how to do this. Reality is with all this stuff, you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to figure it out. That's how we all do it. But basically, I'm giving you the broad strokes. You're going to come in over here to lead engine, and then you're going to go to the lead drop box. And then you're going to find your Zapier key right here. And that is what you're going to paste in if this is the first time you're connecting up BoldTrail or kvCORE to Zapier. So now that that step is done, we can continue building our zap out. So coming back to the zap. There she is. You can see kvCORE used in one zap. It is connected. And then we are going to configure. And you see here, it wants the zap ID that we grabbed out of the provided, out of the workflow, the Smart Campaign right here. So that is the zap ID we had copied. Continue. Test trigger. There's probably nothing in there, but let's just see what it grabs. And you'll see it kind of grabs some dummy data, you call it, or some fake data that can be used as we build out our zap. Notably, you can see here it's got the seller's, if seller lead full address, and then other aspects of the lead are over here and ready to be merged over. Now, let's go to the fun part. Continue with selected record. We'll go to the thanks.io actions, and you'll see you have some choices at the thanks.io side of things. You can add a recipient to a mailing list and then use thanks.io's built-in campaign logic from there. You can delete a recipient from a mailing list. You can look up an address by email, which is very interesting. You could actually find the address of the person, look up the street address of the person, and then send a zap back into kvCORE and update that data. You can directly send a gift card. You can directly send a letter via radius search. So you could send a note card, postcard, or letter to a specific area. It's a little more sophisticated, this action, but you pick a center point address and mail to everybody all around that person. But more likely what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding the recipient to a mailing list for other automation, or you're just going to directly send a one-time postcard, letter, or note card. So I'm going to choose send postcard. I'm going to sign into my thanks.io account the same way I did kvCORE. I have to connect it up. A little easier for thanks.io. Thanks.io is a little bit more with it when it comes to marketing automation than BoldTrail is. So it knew we were connected to a thanks.io account. It just did it. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're just going to map over the fields coming over from BoldTrail or kvCORE just like this. So we're going to choose the recipient's first name. And I'm going to assume you kind of know how to map and build zaps. You've used tools like this before if you're still watching this video, but you get the point. The full address can be pasted in here or just the separate sections of the address. So I can pop the street address in. I can pop the city in and so on. So I don't want to belabor this too much. The one other thing that I do want to show you is that there is the opportunity to actually trigger from thanks.io as well and send leads the other way, or update leads the other way from KV to BoldTrail or kvCORE. So what I can do here is flip the tables. Thanks.io would be our trigger event, and then down here we're going to make BoldTrail or kvCORE the action event. I just want to show you what's available here. And you can see here we have trigger events on item delivered. So when an item is delivered, you can say, hey, push this people into a kvCORE or BoldTrail campaign, and then automatically text them a follow-up, which is really cool stuff. You can also trigger when a new recipient is added to a list, and what probably the most popular here is that when a QR scan happens, you can trigger and update the contact and trigger other stuff in BoldTrail based on what happens on the thanks.io side. So all you're doing here is just using that trigger, and then the kvCORE side, you're using the event to update the contact or create a new contact if that's the case. So just wanted to show you that as well. Again, I realize I just went extremely quickly through this. This is actually a relatively complicated integration. You're going to do it via webhooks, or you're going to do it via Zapier. There are 1,000 different scenarios and ways that you might be trying to connect these two platforms together. And at the end of the day, if you're on our business plan or our enterprise plan, our team is well versed, of course, in both platforms. And you can kind of just say, hey guys, I've got this campaign, such and such happens in BoldTrail. I'd like for a card to go out on day 9, and we will do it for you. The only thing that we ask is that please don't have us set up a bunch of stuff if you don't have actual contacts flowing through that automation. We get a lot of agents who ask us to do things that they never take action on. If you have a working lead source going, you're getting a lot of leads from Zillow, or you're getting them from Facebook or whatever, and you have a good funnel set up and you just want to kind of add direct mail, then we're happy to roll up our sleeves, dive in, and do everything I just explained for you, so you don't have to mess with all this webhooky, geeky stuff. So that's about it. Your video about how to connect thanks.io to the BoldTrail platform. You can do it either via webhooks, or you can do it via Zapier. You can also do it directly via our API and even MCPs if you are aware of what that means and you have AI agents working for you. Thanks.io does have an MCP endpoint available for you to use as well. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.